Welcome everyone to the Toku Portal podcast. It's me, Zero, here with.
Did it a decade?
And Rai. Today we're talking about Kamen Rider Build episode 43. So, when we last left off, another build had showed up, and it's revealed to be Sento's father, Shinobu. Uh, the question comes up of why is this base version of Build so strong? Shinobu gives the answer of it was made for him to use, so it's more compatible. Whatever. Uh, The evil genes inside of Banjo begin freaking out, and Banjo nearly kills him, but Sento ends up saving his father. Which I understand why he would do this. Like, he thinks fondly of his father. He wasn't a bad guy, and then this is the first instance of him acting like this. What I don't agree with is how Kazumi and Gentoku react to it. Kazumi's been fighting to protect his family and his workers who he considers family, and Gentoku lost his own father. You'd think they'd be sympathetic, but they do little more than say, "The fuck were you thinking?" and then they piss off.
Yeah, I mean, I do like the fact that basically Evil isn't the mastermind because that was kind of getting old. Just him, well, it appearing to be that he's the one plotting everything, but no, we see that he actually had some help. Uh, and yeah, it was kind of fun to see the the best matches back in action. That's kind of why I liked Maximum Mighty X and God Maximum X. Uh oh yeah, and um, Kasumi calls Banjo by his first name. That was nice. Not even Sento does that. uh yeah, that but the whole falling out was a bit out of nowhere. But that's all I have to say.
Yeah, I mean this episode's a little weird because it's fairly solid, and then it does like dumbass things every once in a while. So yeah, it's like really well shot and like fairly well acted and everything, and then people start doing stupid shit. But then like another scene's like, oh, okay, that wasn't that terrible. So as for why like Kazumi freaked out, I think the reason is because like it's revealed that like this whole nonsense wasn't Evolt's thing. So I think he's like, dude, you could at least like knock your dad out of his freaking rider form and basically ended the war if he's the mastermind. Like none of this war nonsense would have happened if it wasn't for him.
I am fine with Kazumi being mad about Sento saving his father, but
Yeah,
Banjo would have ended his life, not just knocked him out of his transformed state.
I guess, but like it. I, the problem is like the whole reason like Sento's dad exists as like just an episode, like it's just episode padding because it looks like his next episode he's gonna be fucking like out of the story and we'll be back to where we were. So it seems like, oh, why couldn't like if Sento didn't stop Banjo, like his dad might have died, right? But like the whole reason is because Banjo, even though he was cured, got his evolved genes back and became crazy to fight Sento's dad, who's secretly the mastermind, which explains why like Evolved was sitting around and not doing anything all this time. But then at the other point is like that doesn't make any sense because he was like ready to end humanity. So it only makes sense because like this is a super hard retcon, so we're trying to fix it. like I know what you're saying. Like in the situation, if Banjo wasn't stopped, his dad might have died. But I'm like, it never should have gotten to that point because you should have stopped them both. Secondly, like Banjo shouldn't even have these like freakouts because we already solved this problem. Thirdly, like Sento's dad doesn't even need to be in the show. Fourthly, like Evolt should be the mastermind because he's basically going to be the mastermind at the end of next episode because like Sento's dad's going to be gone most likely. And so it's like, yeah, it's a weird situation where it's like, okay, Sento technically didn't do anything bad because this a whole show wrote it in a way to make Sento look good, but like this problem shouldn't have shown up in the first place. It's fucking weird. That's what I mean. Like it's a well done episode, but this plot is fucking nonsense because it doesn't need to be here. It's just padding, it seems like. But then again, like at least Kazumi, like afterwards when he's talking to Gentoku, came around. He's like, "Yeah, we're probably gonna have to take Sento's dad out ourselves because, like, I don't want to put him through that nonsense. And like, we don't even have to take out his dad. We can just like take out Evolt, and maybe if Evolt's controlling him, then he'll get his will back." So I was like, "All right, that was a good scene." My only problem is like, fucking Gentoku in his shirts. Like, why is that still a running gag?
At least it's toned down.
I guess. Like the only one that kind of made me chuckle a little is the one where he does it with Kazumi, and it's like, when did you even have time to make that?
Yeah, that was a nice
That-
one.
Yeah, that's the only good one, and like the rest are like, why, dude? Like, why is this your gimmick now? Like, you already have motivation in character to end this war. Why are we chucking that all aside to make you the comic relief now? Because your power level is somehow magically weaker than all the other riders for some reason. It's stupid.
Let's see here. So Sento has an int. Oh,
Wait. So if this okay, this just makes like the whole like oh fuck, does anybody even remember his name? The guy from Namba Industries, Cyborg, Mad Rogue, Utsumi, yeah.
Utsumi, yeah.
Utsumi, the whole shit of everybody's like, oh no, Utsumi is actually not that bad of a guy. He saved humanity. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about
Wait,
now?
who said he was a good guy?
No. People like after the episode's like, oh no, Utsumi, he saved humanity by making that choice, right? I'm like, okay, now if this was all according to plan, Utsumi has done nothing in the show. He's fucking trash.
I mean, yes.
Like,
Utsumi did.
since he got the only good episode is the episode he got shot. That's the only time he was worth a damn.
Right.
Because he pretended to be rogue and then he got shot and then the plot kind of gave him a moment to shine. But every other episode he's kind of just been there. Nothing can. Man, literally nobody connected to Nama Industries fucking matters in this show.
Not even Sawa.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna get to like, there's two left. There's Sawa and Utsumi, and they don't matter. It's so sad.
So Sento has an internal discussion with Katsuragi about their father. Basically, maybe he's evil because he was exposed to the light from Pandora's box. But if he's a rider, then he should have been cured of the light. So then why is he still working for Evolt? So the only answer is because he wants to. So what the fuck does that mean?
I think it just means that like he's not mind controlled, but that was actually a really good scene because they're like, yeah, there's an alternative, but if you accept this alternative, you're just lying to yourself. And like Katsuragi, like just tells Sento to like, dude, just like face reality, man.
Yeah.
Like he's a bad guy now. which sucks. But I'm like, that was actually pretty well done. I also liked how like Sento freaking like rips off his monitor pretty much, or he just like chucks it aside. It's like holy shit, I was not expecting that.
Oh, yeah, that was the most legit scene.
Yeah, and like my only problem with that is like right before that, like Misora comes and they're like have this heart to heart. I'm like, okay, yeah, you guys have like parallel storyline. That's cool. But then they go with like, oh yeah, my dad was evil, but they don't have a talk. So I'm like, okay, so you've literally made them the same character now. Because before it used to be, oh, I've lost my memory. Oh, I've lost my memory. You know, our dads did questionable shit. Um, you know, we have to be better than them, kind of thing. But now it's like we're the same guys, and both our dads are alive, and they're evil. And it's like, what the fuck is this plot line? That was so stupid. But yeah, it doesn't make any sense because it's like, why? I mean, like he explains, like, oh, it's for to make a better future or something. So I'm like, oh, okay, maybe he's kind of doing like a game thing where it's like, yeah, this is terrible, but if like the people who survive will be strong, so this never happens again. You know, like another like alien life form can't show up and fuck up the Earth. But then he's like, no, I'm trying to make a future beyond physics. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean?
So,
Like,
I
yeah, go
still.
ahead.
The scene with Sento Katsuragi is really well done. It's just like what his like father's goal here is what confuses me. Uh, but I also really liked the scene between Sento and Misora because uh, Sento usually when they have these heart to hearts together, it usually ends well. One of them ends you typically cheers the other one up, but here Misora fails. Sento is just like he can't handle what's going on with his father.
Yeah, I mean that's a little realistic, I guess, because like sometimes you can't just cheer somebody up. My only problem with this is what it leads to throughout the rest of the episode, where it's like Sento, he learns the same lesson for the third time. Misora fucks up again, except much worse. I'm like, okay, if this was like 10 to 15 to maybe 20 episodes ago, I mean like 20 would be stretching, but like, okay, if this was like 15 episodes ago, I would buy this. But I'm like, at this point we're in endgame. Like, I know usually like the people who help writers tend to make stupid decisions because they get emotional during the end. But like when that happens, that's like, oh shit, we might actually have like a 50-50 chance of the good thing happening. Here, Misora goes, oh yeah, I can really save Sento. I'm like, why are you trusting evil?
Oh God.
Right? Like, it's not even your dad. It's straight up evil. Like, there's zero chance, zero, that like anything good will happen. And like maybe she thought she could get her powers, except that's not even her decision. That's like Sento's dad's plan, right? So it's
Right.
like nothing you did here is a smart decision. And I'm like, that is so stupid. Like, Misura's smarter than this. Like, that's the sad part.
She's supposed to be. Yeah. She is the last. She was the last like reasonable character, and then she turns around and makes the one decision that out of everyone she shouldn't make. Why would she trust Evolt after everything that happened to her?
Um, any thoughts on all this decade?
Yeah, just that last bit. I know we had a problem with the kind of non-consequential Poppy sacrifice, but this was just a whole another level of I don't know, just filler, stupid character decisions. Like, oh my! I got an idea. I failed to cheer up Sento, so now I'm going to Ask Evil for help.
No,
What is going
Evold
on?
called her up and said, "Hey, can I turn you into a smash?" And she said yes.
Oh, okay, yeah. That definitely makes it better. Thanks for clearing that up.
Does it make it better though?
No, this is just so bad. And I'm trying to give this show the benefit of the doubt, trying to stay positive, but week after week, there's just something stupid about each episode. I mean, this episode had good moments, but yeah, let's just keep going.
All right. So Evo turns Misora into a smash, and something about Bernage making it so that she's defeated, she'll die. And what is going on here? This episode was written by the lead writer, and I don't understand a thing.
I think the plot is so like formulaic that is like it. This is clear padding. Like this like mini arc we're having with Sento's dad is just clear padding and setup. Like I think the whole damn reason we even had today's fight is like okay, one Sento has to let his dad go. Therefore, Banjo, like okay, it has to be Banjo that fights the other build because it can't be Sento because then Sento made a dumbass decision. It can't be Grease because Grease would die. It can't be um, Rogue because Rogue is fucking trash now. Um, so like Banjo has to get this bullshit thing, and then like okay, why would Bill then go and fight his dad when he couldn't before? Well, one of his friends must be in danger, and then it's the same thing. Like it can't be Grease. It's not going to be Gentoku because Gentoku would never be stupid enough to do this again. Because he already did this with Namba Industries. Uh, it's not Ryuga because Ryuga just got his ass kicked, and he has to come in and save Build at the end anyway. Therefore, I mean, maybe Sawa, but like Sawa fucking just shows up. She doesn't even exist as a character. Like hell, you know what we could have done with this is like, all right, Sawa goes to Utsumi, and Utsumi is like, all right, do this, and you might have a chance. Right? Then you could see, okay, she could make this dumbass deal because she still thinks like Utsumi might turn to the good side. You know, because they were both Namba children. But like it has but they don't because like they don't even want to acknowledge anybody from Namba Industries as a character on this show now. And so the only option left is Mizora, which is so stupid. It's like this whole arc is so dumb. It is just like if you place this in the middle of the show, it would have been fine. It would have been stupid, but it would have worked because you know, like Evolve would have still been in like Suichi's body, so you could see like Mizora might think like she could get through to her dad, you know. But we're adding this because we just need the runtime, which is a really stupid decision. And the worst part is this like episode is fairly well shot. Like the action has pretty interesting like camera angles and like effects and stuff, and like the actors are doing their part. Like the individual scenes are okay. It's just all together. It's just like
It's
why?
it's not the
Yeah.
execution. It's just that it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I know. It's not as bad as the like hero like working with like Chronos filler. I mean that made sense, but it just went nowhere. Whereas this is like, why does this even exist? You know, that's the worst part. Um, yeah, it's just padding, which is really sad because like Build doesn't need this right now. It had a rough patch, but I'm like, all right, we have like all the players in the open now. We can go. But no, there are so many fucking bottles. Like, you know that like bottle that he gets from other build and then it turns gold?
Yeah, that's for the movie.
That's for the movie, right? Like there's so many fucking bottles and there's so much padding now. that we're literally dragging good writing down with it. It's so sad, man. Like this, like you haven't seen Ghost, but like this is kind of Ghost's problem too. Like near the end, where they're like, we have to fill out the runtime. Go make dumbass decisions." This is kind of what like people were saying, and like it has like good characters, but they do stupid shit to pad out the runtime, and that's what Build's doing. And I don't want it to be like that because like these guys can really act, but I don't know what the fuck this is. Like it's not even like you could write better, you know?
This show
Like if you
has written better.
yeah, I mean like it's not even that. It's that like it has characters that it can use to make these stupid plots a little less stupid, you know? And here's the thing, like why did it have to be Mizura? It could have just been any human off the street. And like Sento would have basically done the same thing. You know, it's like, do you choose an innocent civilian or family? You know, and like the choice would have been the same, right? Like, but we fucking can't even get extras now. Like, what's going on?
Oh my god. I just realized that we've rarely seen a non-main central character in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, like the last time was when like Sato declares that they've won, and it just cuts to like, I guess like safe houses or like bunkers, and there's like couple people
Various
celebrating. I'm like, who the fuck are these people? You know, like that was the last time. But before that, like for the last like 10 plus episodes, we haven't seen anyone. Yeah, go ahead.
no, no, no. You can keep going about this if you want. Decade, do you have anything to say actually?
Yeah,
Not yet. Once we get into the fight and stuff, and
Okay. Then
yeah, we were like half an hour in. Let's just keep going, I guess.
okay. So Sento goes to save Misora, and Shinobu gets involved and fights him as Build. And while Sento tries to fight his father, he still has his reservations. Uh, until his father starts going on about creating a new world. And did I miss something? Why does he want to create a new world?
no, you didn't miss anything. He doesn't explain it at all.
Okay, so I have a problem with that. In other series, when like this kind of thing has been brought up, like in Gaim, they wanted to create a new world, and they had a reason for it. In Gaim, Baron wanted to create a world where strong people don't just tower over the weak and crush them. But here, he doesn't actually just give a reason, and why not? Like, if you're gonna tell us what's going on, just tell us.
Yeah, yeah. He doesn't give a reason. Like maybe it's gonna be in the movie, but it seems like the movie takes place after this, kind of as like Xade's like final type movie. I think that's what they're going for in the movie, so it wouldn't really explain this at all. Like he doesn't give a reason. Like the thing is, like say, oh, this is weird because like Sento's mom hasn't shown up in the show, but then like when she did, she was a good character. So I'm like, ah, man. Like I was gonna say maybe if we killed her, then we could have kind of had like the wizard plot, but I'm like, it doesn't really make sense because she's kind of important for like the earlier part. But I don't know, like, what if he had a sister or something, right? Like, and then we basically have like the wizard plot of like, you know, I'm going beyond science because like fucking science couldn't save the people I wanted, so I'm gonna have to use other shit. Because he says like I'm going to make a world beyond physics, and I'm like, why? You know, like Like he doesn't have a reason, but like if he needed something that like he couldn't accomplish with the stuff he had, at least I would give a shit. But he literally doesn't have anything. Like what does he want? You know, he just showed up and it's like, okay, I need this. I'm like, why? You're like probably the top scientist in this weird version of Japan right now. Like you have Evolve to help you out, who's pretty much like the strongest rider. Like, is there anything you actually need?
That's actually another thing. How come every time a new scientist is introduced, it's like they're the top scientist?
I mean, one thing, this is like a weird version of Japan, but I mean, like, I don't mean like brain power wise, I mean like authority wise. Plus, there's like different,
Oh, okay.
specializations in science anyway. So, like, he could just be the best physicist. Then again, like, Ryder uses like science and physics really badly. It's mostly because fucking Hongo was like a bio major, and like so every time like he's the super intelligent IQ of 600, bio major, and 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 we've kind of had like weird science ever since because of that. Like, I mean, you kind of have to blame Ishinomori for that nonsense, but then again, like Rider is based off of Cyborg 009, so like weird hyper advanced science was always kind of part of writer history. But yeah, I know what you're saying. It's like every show, they get their own scientists and they're like the smartest thing ever. And it's like, can we like tone it down? Like the only time I've seen like it makes sense was in like Kiva, where like the Blue Sky Organization chief, like he goes away for a couple episodes and then he comes back and then he gives Exa his like upgrade and it's like, where the fuck did this come from? It's like, oh yeah, we were working on it, but like this other branch actually finally perfected it, so I just went and got it from them. So it's like, oh, all right, so you we don't know everything, like, but like every other time, it's like, okay, in Kuga it's a little balanced, in Agito it's balanced-ish, but like all the other times, it's like, no, these guys are like the best of the best, and like nobody could even understand them. And if they do, they make their own weird versions, and it's like, what the fuck, man? like, like we don't like. I think the worst part is because like there's nobody to balance out Sento. So like Efault isn't a scientist, right? Utsumi is, but they don't use him. Like we thought Gentoku was. Then he would have been an interesting foil. But he turned good guys, so he doesn't have the scientist thing because we needed Utsumi to be the foil, but we don't use him. So we had to create another scientist who's even smarter, which is fucking stupid. Especially when he goes, "Oh yeah, the build driver was for me, so I'm the best match." I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Yeah,
Like Katsuragi built that, right? Like, hell, when he built it, Sento made it so advanced he couldn't even fucking follow it. Like, how are you able to even like keep up? Like it would have been fine if what they would have done. They should have done like, oh, he has like hazard trigger, except like his hazard trigger actually works. Because like he was the perfect guy who built it. Like because even Katsuragi couldn't figure out how to make hazard trigger work. And I'm like, all right, hazard trigger pretty much has like no limit because it's like maxing out your potential. So I'm like, if he built a hazard trigger that worked and it worked for him because he was the original inventor of it, I would have been fine with it. But like base build, I'm like, it's nice that we didn't blow up these suits or anything. That's nice, but like nothing with this guy makes sense.
all right. So Banjo walks in and saves the day. No joking. Banjo walking in is the best and most well executed scene in this episode, and giving his standard rider speech about heroes. Again, Bonjo just does these really well. Uh, and then during the fight, his evil genes start freaking out again, and then Sento begins panicking to try and find a way to save both of his friends. And so he does his finisher on Misora and knocks her Burnage powers out of her into Bonjo, which neutralizes Evil's genes and saves both of them.
Yeah, I did like Ryuga's little speech, especially after watching uh, pretty late the Heisei Generation's final and seeing just how kind of immature and lost Ryuga was. So that was nice. I mean, yeah, we've seen it before, but it was still well executed. Uh, so yeah, I wonder if Ryuga's gonna start uh talking as Bernage. That would be interesting.
I mean, I that would be interesting. I don't think that's gonna happen. I think to just like I said, this like mini arc with like Sento's dad is just pure filler. So I'm like, I think all of this is like getting introduced and wrapped up, like Bernard showing up again and being wrapped up, and like Banjo going crazy and getting wrapped up, and like second build, all this probably gonna be gone by the next episode. So it was just this like 4 episode filler arc. But the funniest thing about that is like Sento's dad goes like, "Oh yes, you really need a genius form for that." I'm like, to what? To rider kick a character into another guy? Like, oh yes, I'm sure it really needed fucking genius for that. That was so insulting. I'm like, I know what you're doing here. It's like, oh, we have this super smart form, and like, we figured out a way to save the people, even though it was basically impossible. But I'm like, as much as Kamen Riders fix everything by rider kicking, this was the one time where kicking people was not the answer. It's like, that felt so stupid and cheap. Um, Also, like Bernage magically doesn't die because like their powers just cancel out. It's like, even more contrivance. But um, I did like yeah, like Banjo's speech. That was really good. Like they had such a good like writer too. I mean, secondary writer shows up to like help out the primary writer. That was such a good scene. But then again, like Banjo's actor is really good too. So that was nice. It stopped on his like shoes. I'm like, okay, that was a cool moment, but are you fucking advertising the shoes? Is this Coast all over again with the like? How much were those sneakers? Like 300, 600? Like, like we even made a joke in the Halloween episode of like, oh, don't get these damn things wet. They're so expensive. Like the TVN Halloween episode had a like comedy moment with that. Yeah, it was interesting. Like I don't remember if it was here or before where like second build does this like sweet ass rider kick, and then it cuts from like this weird top sliding angle. Or I mean, I guess we're looking down and he's coming down and attacking at the same time. I was like, that was so well done. Also, I kind of like how we're not wasting time with like cranking the belts anymore. It's like, okay, one done, let's go. Like Banjo when he uses his knuckle. I'm like, okay, at least we're speeding up the fight. So yeah, the fight was good. Like the we needed genius form to kick a person into another person. Wasn't a super fan of that, but I guess we had to give a reason to get the stupid gimmick toy for the movie somehow, which kind of sucks, but otherwise it was okay.
then at the end, Utsumi alerts Evolt about Kazumi and Gentoku sneaking into their base. Because I'm sure they have a well thought out plan. And that's the end of the episode.
I mean, I think we've thrown enough shade at poor character decisions, but come on. You
Like,
didn't learn your lesson last time, Kazumi? What is your problem?
like my biggest problem with this episode is that it's just one poor character decision after another. And most of them aren't even in character. A lot of them feel like the characters are it's a different character because this is not how this character has acted in the past.
I mean, here's the thing with that scene. Like, at one point, I'm like, okay, Utsumi. I mean, not Utsumi. Grease basically assaulted a base in one solo one. So, like, yeah, like this would be his plans. Like, whatever, man. We did it once. We can do it again. Uh, and like Gentoku probably like, well, I don't have a better plan, so let's just do it. So it kind of fits, kind of not really. But the other problem is like when they snuck into the base, like the last time they were caught also. But when they snuck in, I'm like, oh man, that's cool. We're getting like throwback to like old school Showa Rider, where like riders would sneak up into like enemy bases like all the time. Like Jesus Christ, that shit got so ridiculous. Like fucking Stronger would show up in an enemy base, go to the villain and be like, "Man, how stupid could you be?" Pretty much. It's like, look at me. Like he literally became a writer because he's like, oh, you know what happens? Right. Like the villains always turn basically heroes and like give them the strongest shit, and like writers always get treated. So I'm gonna fight the bad guys, but I'm just a weak human, so I'm just gonna go turn myself into a writer by getting captured by the villains, getting turned into a cyborg, then breaking free and fighting them, and that's pretty much what he does.
That's
So
awesome.
strong. Yeah, I
Stronger's a
know.
badass.
Stronger. I mean, he's kind of just a cocky asshole in the beginning. Like, here's the thing. Like Kabuto is like Heisei Stronger. Basically. So like, yeah, that's what Stronger was. He was like this cocky asshole in the beginning because like at this point, like the rider formula was like, especially like the Showa rider formula was super formulaic. So he was kind of almost making fun of it, like almost parody. And like the real hero was kind of in the beginning was Tackle. Like I haven't seen a lot of Stronger, but I kind of know like the general gist, or at least this part. So like Tackle was like doing the more rider stuff, but like this is one of the bad moves Ishinomori made. Like he didn't call their electric wave human, so that's why Tackle doesn't get counted as a rider, which is fucking bullshit. At least SIC recognized that she was a rider. um, but then like Tackle fucking dies, and then Stronger like gets his shit together. Is like, oh no, shit just got real. Like the real hero pretty much just got taken out, like poisoned to death, pretty much, fighting like this rose monster thing that has like poison powers and stuff. Yeah. So she dies a hero, and then like Stronger finally gets his shit together, and it gets way more serious. Uh, yeah, but like the sneaking up into bases is such a classic writer trope. Except like they did it a couple times in the show, and it was fine. Except the last time they did it, they got caught on camera. I'm like, wait, what? Like somebody actually has video cameras and knows how to use them. That is so like unexpected in Rider that I was like, oh shit, like no, now they're fucked. And then they did it again, like every time, like they get caught on camera, it takes me by surprise because in the Rider franchise, like nobody fucking uses cameras, like they have cameras but they don't know how to use them. Um So like when they sneak in, I'm like, oh, it'll be fine. They're writers. They'll just break in, and then like Utsumi catches them a second. Now I'm like, holy shit, two in a row. Like, fuck everything. Like, I guess Utsumi is like the best security guard of all time.
Was
I guess
gotta do
that's why Evolt
something.
keeps keeps him around. And I was like, wow, like these guys get nothing. Like Banjo can show up, busted up and save the day, but they can't even get to sneak into a base. That sucks. But I guess it's setting up for next episode.
Uh, I think I've said all I need to about this episode. It's just characters felt out of character, and despite some of the great performances, the whole episode fell flat for me.
Yep, good actors, kind of mediocre writing, but still looking forward to the fight next episode.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Like, probably the best episode in this little filler arc. Actually, probably like this whole damn arc at this point, but highly, highly questionable decisions went down in this episode. But like, really solid action, really solid performances. So it's weird, like as like an episode on itself, it's solid. As like a plot line, it's super not good.
Alright, thanks for joining us tonight, everybody. We'll be back next Tuesday for more Looping Ranger versus Pat Ranger, and next Wednesday for more Kamen Rider Build. Maybe it'll get better? See you next time.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, everyone. We'll catch you next time.